Hey everybody, welcome back to the Pressing Matters. I'm Scott. Thank you for tuning in today and thank you for your support. Today I'll be talking about the iconic Yes, Fragile album. The reason I'm touching on this again is because not only is it coming out in the Atlantic 75 series, but I recently was invited to participate in a three-way Yes album shootout on David Bianco's Safe and Sound Texas Audio Excursion channel. It was a three-way with him and his friend Brad. So each of us covered a different album. David covered the Yes album, Brad covered Close to the Edge, and I was chosen to do Fragile. If you haven't seen the video yet, please check it out because it's pretty interesting. The findings were somewhat surprising and a little bit of a shock in some instances. So please check that out. I wasn't feeling really well that night, so I kind of abbreviated my presentation and I wanted to expand a little bit on it here on my own channel. Before I send these back to, all these pressings back to their owners. There was 8 pressings that I had to go through. I had 3 months to do it, I think. It was like 2 or 3 months. So it went through several system changes and finally with the latest speakers I have, the System Audio Pandions. So I heard it on a variety of different systems and I eliminated 3 pressings right off the bat. I'm going to tell you the ones I eliminated and why. The Australian pressing that David sent me, it's SD7211. The matrix is MX165741 -1 and -2. My notes here that I wrote as I was listening to it, it's oddly lacking in power and drive. It was veiled, it was dull, it was unexciting listen. Had a lack of definition in the guitar strums and the bass, odd volume drops, and crude distortion. So that one was off of the evaluation. There was no reason to keep it in. There was 2 UK pressings. So there was a UK Plum and a second pressing on the green and red label. The second pressing I eliminated, not because it didn't sound good, but I felt like I should focus on the one that most people would be interested in, which is the UK Plum, the first. That one is the one with the most mystique. I had never had a UK Plum in my possession before. So the second pressing is catalog number K5009. So it's A2 AB matrix. It had plenty of air and sparkle, great balance, clarity in the vocals in most parts, great texture in the guitars and bass, wonderful drive and pace, some grain here and there, some confusion in the busier parts, and good surfaces. And, you know, it was close enough to the UK Plum that I felt I wouldn't be doing a disservice to just focus on the UK Plum. So I moved that into the pile that we're not going to be in the final evaluation. The third pressing was a Canadian pressing. This one had a pressing issue, high vinyl noise that could not be cleaned. It had a nice top end, but it lacked the drive of the best ones. It had good separation, but the bass didn't really move the songs as well as some of the other pressings. It didn't have that bounce and elastic quality that the very best pressings have. It had some grain in the mass vocals and a rough texture in the busier parts. And those 2 last items are things that do pop up on a lot of pressings of Fragile. The very best ones deal with this issue of clarity in the very busy parts and separation on those layered vocals. So those 3 were out of the running. I also eliminated a pressing that is a duplicate of one that is included. It's the clear vinyl version that was released in 2023. This is also a Kevin Gray cut that uses the same plates as the black vinyl 2016. So to make things simple, I just eliminated that one. But whatever I say about the Kevin Gray 2016 also applies to that one. So that left four pressings. Yeah, 4 pressings. And I don't need my notes for these because I remember everything. The first one, and the basis to go forward with any evaluation, is the UK Plum. There's some receipts in here and a sticker, and it says, yes, Fragile Plum 600. I was like, David, I hope you didn't pay 600 for this. Not that it's not worth it. I guess it would be worth it to someone that really wants this one. I think these normally go for about 125 and up. That figure may be in some other currency, so I was a little surprised to see that at first. I'm going to be very careful with this because it's not mine. This is the first time I've ever had a UK Plum, and it was so cool to look at and hold. Yeah, it's pretty neat. We never see these in the United States unless we buy them from a seller. The UK Plum is the most vibrant, exciting thing that you'll ever hear. It's very, very energetic. If there's one word that could kind of characterize this pressing, it's energy off the charts. It's also the freshest sounding. So, of course, it was made immediately after the tape was finished and in the country of origin. So it is the closest you get to the master tape. And it has a life and vibrancy that is very, very addicting. It's pretty wild sounding. It has a wonderful presence, as I said, excellent clarity. The busy parts can get a little hard at points. So when there's, there's layered vocals, organ, guitars, bass, percussion, everything going at once, things can get a little bit grainy, and that's the case on this. It's not the pressing. I actually cleaned that with the degritter that I had in the house for a couple days. I cleaned all the 4 final pressings on the degritter, and it transformed this. But this is just something that is inherent in this pressing, I think, in many other pressings of Fragile. Those busy parts are really hard to unravel, and some of the audiophile pressings do that better than others, but it comes at a price. So the UK Plum, if you are an original pressing adherent, the UK Plum is an easy recommendation. It's a great listen. It's very, very fun to listen to. Other pressings after this try to do things a little different, and they address some of the weaknesses here. Another thing about the UK Plum is the bass. The bass is the easiest to follow of any of these pressings on the UK Plum. You can hear it go bump, each note very distinctly. And sometimes on the pressings that try to extend the bass, like the AP, the Mofi, that quality is subdued. It's kind of lost a little bit. This has that bounce and clarity that is very, very attractive. So for most people, this will be a wonderful, wonderful listen. I think it's great. I wouldn't mind having one myself, but I found a pressing that I really like, so that comes close to this. The AP is from 2006. This is on the silver label. This was sent to me by my friend John. I cleaned it on the degritter because it needed some help. That's what that original silver label looked like. And it's a more audiophile approach. It has the trademarks of a Steve Hoffman mastering. Steve Hoffman mastering. I think Steve mastered it and Kevin cut it. It's warm, it's lush, it's tubey sounding, it's very pretty, but it lacks a little bit of the high frequency detail and sparkle of the first pressing. and you end up missing that. I think what they were trying to do here is tailor some of that hardness and harshness here and there. So everything's slightly rounded off, and there is sort of a missing part of the audio spectrum up there. This results in a very beautiful sounding record, but if you are used to that drive and excitement of the very wild first pressing, you're going to be a little disappointed in the AP. It does excel in clarity and opening up things a bit more so that you don't get that distortion and harshness on the busy parts. And it extends the bass a bit as well, but it's not as easy to follow as it is on the UK pressing. So you get a little weightier presentation and a cleaned up mid-range, but you are missing this sparkle on top. And I think that's the thing about this pressing that has probably, in many people's minds, it's kind of fallen in estimation over the years. Yeah, there's a magic about the UK Plum that's just not captured on the AP. I normally would be really attracted to that record, and I may acquire one at some point because it does sound really good, but it does have those characteristics, and I think that eliminates it from the very top spot. And I'm not going to declare a winner here. I'm going to just state my preference. The Mofi one-step, let's talk about this one next. I was so excited to get this when it came out. I was like, and I heard it, and I said, I got to get a backup copy. Of course, this is when, you know, one-steps were an investment, you know. Yeah, great investment. Yes, Fragile. It's one of the better one-steps, I think. It avoids that kind of high frequency enhancement of a lot of the later one-steps. It is a beautiful listen. Great clarity, precision, a holographic kind of presentation. It's an interpretation for sure. The thing with this one is the bass. Bass is extended down. And it kind of weighs down the presentation. It's missing the jump factor of the earliest pressing. In its place, though, the 45 has done it wonders because the sound is opened up in this excellent holographic placement of instruments and a wonderful sense of depth and space that you don't really get on the original pressing or the AP. The problem is that bass extension, at least on my system, sort of slows down that part of the presentation. Things are good on top and very clear and never harsh, but it just kind of, it feels like they're going in different times almost, very subtly, but that woolliness down there is just kind of slowing things down on the bottom. And for that, it's an interpretation. It's not what could be considered definitive, I don't think. Many people love that presentation, and I do love it, and I'll never let go of this. But to me, it doesn't really capture all the best aspects of this recording. The one that does, I feel, is Kevin Gray's 2016, and that's this one. $24.95 on Amazon. I have it in my storefront if you want to check it out. When I bought that and I put it on, I had been listening to this for years already. I thought this was definitive. But when I heard Kevin's take on it, and then when I heard it against the UK Plum, I was like, yeah. Kevin has managed to capture the energy and excitement of the UK Plum, gotten the clarity and expansion of the AP and this particularly, and extended the bass in a way that is deeper, but more tuneful and more controlled than on this Mofi. To me, it's the best of all worlds. And that it's so cheap to acquire is like a gift to us all. It's the most exciting thing to listen to. I was like, wow, he really struck the right balance on this. I prefer this over all the other pressings. And this gives me a lot of excitement to hear what he's going to do with the 45 from the Atlantic 75 series, because the benefits of 45 are very obvious on this. The Heart of the Sunrise gets its own side, and that's wonderful. It really opens up things. And the whole record is opened up on here in a way that the 2016 doesn't quite touch. But if Kevin can maintain the balance that he gets here with the expansion of a 45 cut, I think we're going to have a definitive copy. But for real world terms, if you want a 33 that's going to hold a candle to the original pressing and improve upon it, I think 2016 Kevin Gray is the ticket. The clear vinyl version of this is using the same plates. So this is fun to have too. This was sent to me by David. And, you know, I don't usually go for colored vinyl pressings, but I think a clear pressing is very tasteful in this case. And this is a beauty. So this shares the same sonic attributes of that 2016 pressing, and it's currently available. I think it was released last year. So those are my findings on Yes Fragile. I will do a recap when the AP finally comes out. The AP Atlantic 75 finally comes out. And I will probably hold the 2016 up to it. So that is my findings on Yes Fragile. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm Scott for the Pressing Matters. Have a great day.